Naika, number 1.
Nakuru, please. Mr. Speaker, Nakuru County.
Mama Lamu, number 2.
Joro, please. Speaker, Joro constituency. Speaker,
I'll give to
Speaker,
Clive,
front,
number 3.
Your front part, Speaker.
And I'll give
Speaker, now you are unfair.
I'll give Mama Embu, number 4.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker.
Everybody will have a chance. Just be patient.
Thank you.
1 question each.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I'm not clear on one issue. We have been talking about classifications of poverty. But there are, in my constituency right now, there's a lot of arambes taking place for children who have been called to the university. But some cannot even afford to do arambes, and they have been called. I want to know if there's a system whereby the very poor who live with their grandmothers and grandfathers can enter the university and the issue of payment is done when they have entered. That is my question.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Mwanzo ningependa kufafanua si hii marginalization iko, tusikatae. Wale wengi watachukua, lakini na sisi tusipokonywe uhuru wa kuzungumza. Kwa sababu Bwana Spika, sahihi ninavyokuambia, mumeona kwa media watoto youth 108 wameenda Al-Shabaab na wameuawa. Mimi leo nakwambia hapa 60 wametoka Lamu East. Na haya mambo kutukataza sisi kuwa marginalized ndio inafanya mambo hayo. Na Lamu ikiwa unsafe, Kenya is not safe. Hilo mwataka mulijue. Sio tukitamka tu marginalization, watu wanataka kutugandamiza tunyamaze. Hasa swali langu ni hili kwa PS. Sijui kama una mipango gani.
Nani unyamaze mama? Wewe uliza swali tu.
Mr. Speaker, Mwenbaya amezungumza marginalization, akasimama mbunge asiseme hivyo. Kwa nini asiseme hivyo na ndio iliyoko? Lakini kwengine kuna shida zaidi.
Endelea kuuliza swali.
Ndio nasema nyinyi mnaweza mkachukua kila kitu, lakini uhuru wetu wa kuzungumza msituatishe. Swali langu ni hili kwa PS. Speaker, please protect me kwa hao walio wengi.
You are fully protected. Order. Go on, Raila.
Lakini shida zingine ni nyingi. Speaker nasema hivi kwa PS. Kwetu mwanzo PS amesema huduma center, lakini nataka ufikirie huduma center kama ya Lamu ni Lamu Town. Mtu akiunga kutoka Kiunga paka Lamu Town paka atumie 8,200. Area zile zenye unique challenges umezifikiria vipi? Kama sahihi Mkokoni hakuna hata network. Wale wamefikiriwa vipi? Usipange kitu ya jumuiya Kenya nzima. Kuna wengine wana unique challenges. Sisi kama Lamu East nataka kujua tuko brand gani ndio nujue kama mna ukweli au ni mambo tu mnajifanyia. Asante.
Yes, Clive. Yes, Elijah. What's the point of order? Use the mic. Just press, it will come on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and sorry for that. I was just saying, when we talk about education, which is an equalizer, and all of us here, members of parliament who have CDF equal, then it is very unfortunate when we start looking at our constituencies, regardless of what we are saying.
Point of order. Point of order.
You must understand.
Order, Clive.
Point of order.
You have it.
Clive.
And it can work.
No, point of order. CDF is not equal.
Order.
Who is giving equal? I'm not, we are, Lamu East, you are not getting equal.
Oh, Mama Roida. I didn't rule you out of order, so sit down. You are in order. Go on, Clive.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
ask you one question?
Honorable Speaker, I would like to know from the PS if they have been able to merge the application of this together. If they have been able to merge the funding application together with the university placement application, COOPS. The reason I'm asking that, Honorable Speaker, is if this was done at the point of application for COOPS and placement, it means by February, all these issues we're handling today could have been tackled and the students could have had enough time for appeal process, whereby even them, as a ministry, can be able to use grassroots leaders like DCCs and ACCs for appeal program. Have they been able to merge that?
Thank you.
Secondly, Honorable Speaker, the banding. The numbers that have gone to band 4 and 5 are people earning over 120,000. And that's why they've put majority of the students. Yes, we understand that there is a lot of maybe fake information that came in. But even the statistics out there, do they justify to tell us that such many people earn over 120,000 shillings in Kenya?
Yes, double N.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine is one question and a suggestion. And I want to ask the PS, what are the modalities or parameters
Sergeant, can you give the PS
used for categorizing students to the different brands, and how fair and effective is it in ensuring that most deserving students are selected for the correct brand? And the other suggestion, Honorable Speaker, to the PS is that there was a directive that if any student has a problem with the certificate because of the school balance, that they should not be denied their certificates. But the PS has categorically said that for the current students attending the universities, they don't need these certificates. But we still know that we have other students who are not necessarily going to the universities and they deserve to have their certificates. Can the ministry, through the PS who is here, allow us as honorable members to do the data, collect the data of all the students whose certificates are outstanding in the schools, in the secondary schools, and they have never been issued to them because of the fee balances that they owe the schools. Thank you very much.
PS, can you answer those 4?
Honorable Speaker, I will invite Monari to respond to the questions by Honorable Naika and Honorable Roida. Then I'll come in with a question by Honorable Clive.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the issue of allowing students who, by Honorable Naika, allowing students who depend on Harambes to report to schools, I want to affirm that all the universities and the chair of the Vice Chancellor's committee is here, that the students will be allowed to report to the universities, and they'll find staff from the university's fund and help to guide them on how to apply for the application. The other thing I want to emphasize on...
Panamonari, you know the problem we have?
Yes.
You are whispering very good things to MPs here, but out there things are different. Can you from here as an order, as a ministry, issue a public communication for children to go to school, their money can follow them? Because what you are saying here and what the vice chancellors are doing out there is totally different.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm sure the PS will be able to respond to that. But one thing I want to emphasize on, we have also noted that the students who have been on Harambee are shy to tick on the form that they were on Harambee. Some of them have not been able to do that. So what we are saying is that let them just give us that evidence.
No. Mr. Speaker, let me clarify my point. I didn't say, I said there are some students who are called. They are not even able to do Harambee. So they don't have a ramp. They call and nobody comes. So can they report to university until...
He has said they will. Now go and tell them to report. Go on.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me go to the next question by Honorable Obo on access to application. I want to confirm that, number one, we understand that there are students who cannot access these facilities because of where they come from. And that is why we have given a chance for these students to report to universities, and we have facilitated our staff to be there to assist these students. So these students will be given a chance to apply while in campus, and then they can be able to submit their applications, and then we can be able to process those applications. Thank you very much.
Next. Who is answering?
Mr. Speaker, please.
No.
You know, we have to be clear. Are they reporting and be sent back home, or they are reporting to continue with the education?
Yes, PS. Go on to the next.
Honorable Speaker, the questions by Honorable Clive on the merging of the placement body, that is Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Board and Universities Fund and Higher Education Loans Board. I'd like to confirm that we have already started working on the initial design. However, this has not been implemented immediately because these platforms are being used actively for students to apply for funds and also to process the appeals. However, it is our commitment that during the next funding cycle, these platforms will be fully merged and the data will be processed simultaneously. Then there was another question on why this banding is skewed towards band 4 and 5. Honorable Speaker, without reliable data on income, it is very difficult for us to use income precisely to predict for the time being. However, I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that I have data here from the National Examination Council for the results of the students who are now joining university. And according to this data, 84.8% of the students who scored C+ and above, 84.8% of the students who scored C+ and above studied in national schools. So we can see that actually this admission is skewed towards national schools. Honorable Speaker, in these national schools, the students were paying 53,000 minimum. We also know that there are other levies. Some of these students also studied in private schools. So it may be very unfortunate, but it is indeed the reality of our circumstances that the students from sub-county schools, the students from county schools and extra county school are disproportionately represented in our universities. And so when we use the secondary school that a student went to as an indicator, and the students went to national schools, and they have not demonstrated that they were funded through Harambes, or they had a guardian or bursaries, then it becomes very difficult for us not to discriminate, not to use that variable as a discriminator. However, this is what then opens the opportunity for appeal, so that with more information, we can then correctly classify these students. And this will also include visiting some sampled students in their homes. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Owen.
My point of order is this, Honorable Speaker. The principle should be everybody is poor unless proved rich. Not the other way. They are saying everybody is rich until they prove that he is poor. This is Kenya. We know the income levels. Very few people go to 120,000. Very few people, 50, 60. Honorable Speaker, so they need to change the principle. Then we will save Kenyan youth.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, Minority Whip. Just press the button and it will come on. Look for the next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to the ministry that their presumption is actually extremely defective. Even as we speak now, I have a student from my constituency who's just finished in Alliance with a balance of 94,000 Kenya shillings because it's CDF that has paid for her from Form 1 to Form 4. Most of our students from our constituencies are actually being paid for by CDF. That's why they are in those national schools. So if you can actually, and I addressed that issue earlier, and I would request them to relook at it. The issue of a school somebody attended is very misleading. Because most of us are in WhatsApp group fundraising, parents sacrifice to even do those fundraisers so that kids can go to good school for a better life. Not that they can afford it. So can you please relook, because it's very misleading, the issue of those schools.
What you probably should do before we go to the next round, I thought I had the Monari say they have opened a desk at each university. Upon reporting, if the data you put in, because, you know, the assessment is based on self-generated data. So if you put in data based on erroneous facts or misapprehension of facts or total misunderstanding, then advise students in your constituencies that upon reporting the university, they go to that desk, and I hope that desk is there, and explain that I went to a national school in Alliance or Kamsinga, not because I was rich, but because I passed well at standard 8 or 7, standard 8, and the bursaries from the CDF paid my fees all through. So my parents have nothing. But you are assessing me because I went to a national school where we pay so much, which was not my money, was not my parents' money, was from a public kitty. So also advise students when they report to go to those desks and make those clarifications so that the data available on them is then adjusted to the reality. Yes, let's take another 4. Yes. Let me start.